It's you.
Yes, it's me.
Are you calm now? Back to life?
Thank you for staying with us. Now we're going to be looking at how to protect intellectual property and copyright. Yeah, first of all, what does all that mean? Well, the people here are going to tell us. So, intellectual property actually refers to the creations of the mind, such as inventions, literary and artistic works, designs and symbols, names and images used in commerce. Unfortunately, very few creatives are aware of how they can protect their creation or how they can lay claim to their intellectual property. Okay. We have two corporate lawyers in the house. Inumidu Bayeroju. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Godson Iwozo. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, let me just put you on notice, guys. You are going to be educating us. You are going to be giving us lectures on what all this means.
So it's copyright 101.
101. Because there are many people out there who are creatives and have no idea what all this means. So their work gets used at random and they don't even know how to seek redress.
Right.
For hearing Ayo, for instance, is having an event and he's playing Alero's music without asking Alero's permission. By the way, is that against the law? Can he just go and play my music?
He can't actually.
He can't. So I would like how I'm going to ask him to pay for playing that piece of music.
It depends on the context. You want to start, Godson? Okay.
Let me start with the ladies.
Ladies first.
Ladies
Have
first.
mercy.
After the men.
We have that back off.
What is the difference between copyright and patent?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. So copyright is basically if you've thought about something like a poem or music or lyrics to a song or a book and you've put it down on paper, you are protected automatically. That is your copyright. And a patent is a process in which something is created. So the process in which maybe a vaccine, the COVID vaccine, has been created. The process and the way it has been created is the patent right. And that's the difference between copyright and patent. I don't know if you understand.
Okay, let's break it down.
Let's break it down, okay.
Because what people can readily identify with now is their mobile phones.
Right.
So, is there a patent to that or a copyright to the process of making a phone?
There is no copyright to the process of making a phone. There is a patent to the process of making a phone.
Okay.
So it's just the way in which it is put together, it is designed. So what I usually use as an example is the light bulb. So the way the light bulb was created and the little intricate details of creating the light bulb is patented. While a copyright is if I think of a song or I think of a story to write and I have written it down on paper, it is automatically protected by copyright.
Okay, so copyright is for literary works?
Literary works, movies, books, stories, yes, and
but
so on.
Patent is for creations like light bulbs, telephone,
so the way vaccines. So just the way in which something is created.
Okay. So just a quick question. Okay. Again, pardon my ignorance. So if I put out a quote on Twitter, is it copyrighted automatically? It's a quote. I wrote it.
Right.
Is it automatically copyrighted?
Not automatically, because Twitter has some terms and conditions which we're all meant to read. So,
but we all accept without reading.
We all accept without reading. So it's not. It is your thought, but you've decided to put it on the platform, and
you put it there yourself.
Yeah, you put it there yourself. It's automatically copyrighted, but Yes,
It can be used by anyone.
Anybody can quote you.
People aren't meant to, but people usually just screenshot and repost, but
yes,
you're not meant to do that because it's the thoughts of someone else and it is automatic.
So I can sue Alero if she uses my quote.
Yeah,
I don't think you want to sue her.
Suppose I give him credit.
Just
after I post it, I write at the bottom of it.
Yes, so that's what people usually do, and I usually see that on Instagram. So when people take photos on Instagram, they usually give credit to the person, the photographer who actually took the picture. So picture taken by XYZ.
Okay.
And yeah, that's what you are meant to do, but people aren't usually informed about that. You're meant to give credit to the to the copyright owner. Yes.
So essentially that means, Godwin, that I'm actually sitting on a lot of money now because I took pictures and people used without crediting me.
Did you take the pictures yourself?
Yes. That's it. I took the pictures myself. I'm joking.
For
my partner is hungry, obviously.
Yes.
For copyright, if you can meet the requirements, the twin requirements of originality and fixation, then you can claim these rights. You can claim these rights. You can come out and say, "Oh, this work is my original work, and I've expressed it in a fixed medium."
Okay.
So then you can say that for a fact that I want to make claim to this work.
I like you guys to explain this better for us, Godwin. People put up guts in my apologies.
Yes.
Put up posts on Twitter, on Facebook that are original to them, original stories.
Yes.
And all you see at the end of most of this is just copy from Facebook to
forwarded.
whatever I just said, forwarded. Or copied, and that's all you have on it. So are there risks to doing that?
Yeah, there are risks to doing that, but then you have to be sure if the terms and conditions of the platform where you posted it says, has something like when you post this, every other person is free to use it.
Okay.
So you have to be sure. So it's when you read the terms and conditions of the platform where you're posting. If the platform doesn't say anything like that, the platform restricts every user to the content.
For God's sake. Those terms and conditions are long and in very tiny print. Like 9. Font size is 9.
They don't expect us to read.
Yeah, I think it's created like that to prevent you from reading.
Yes.
But you have
just
to.
accept.
You have to know your right.
And go ahead.
Have to or need to?
You need to. You have to.
It's just like if you're a script writer. If you take your script and you post it online before the movie is even produced, and someone takes it tomorrow, and maybe the platform you posted it on says free access for all. Everyone can make use of it.
So that person can go and shoot the movie even before you, the owner.
Yes. So it depends.
And the person is not liable.
Yes, it depends on terms and conditions you agreed to.
Because the person saw it on the platform and.
But if you keep the thing to yourself and probably before you even post, you have a non-disclosure agreement with whoever you're sharing it with, then you're protecting yourself. The person goes behind you to shoot the movie without seeking your consent.
Okay, guys, please give me an idea of what are those things written in those terms and conditions that we said yes to without reading? Just give us an idea. Because, the risk here is there are billions of people on earth, right, who have said yes. Accept. I accept. Without even reading. Your bank app, your whatever it is, you just say yes. I agree. Without looking at the whatever it is. So what are the risks that people are putting themselves through inadvertently? No, let me say we are putting ourselves through inadvertently because we don't take time to read those terms and conditions.
I'll give a small example. In terms and conditions, you can have something like for a social media platform, might have something that says you're liable for everything you post. Probably you're posting something that has to do with maybe the government or something, and that is false, and the platform says you're liable for everything you post. Tomorrow the government comes after you, you're in trouble alone. Because you just clicked yes.
I'll be coming to see you in Kuje prison.
No, it won't be me.
So you just signed up, you just said yes to it. You're liable, and you said yes before you posted.
And then there are other platforms that actually share your personal information. So your name, they sell your name, your address. I've experienced that sometimes when you accept things, you just get emails from random websites. And I'm like, when did I sign up for this? I didn't sign up for this. Your personal information has been sold and you consented to it because you didn't read the fine print.
So I can be easily hacked by that?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Oh,
So if you've been wondering why you've been hacked, now you know.
Your spam
Now you
emails.
know.
Your spam emails.
Yes, a lot of spam emails
you keep
come
receiving every day. Spam emails. You might have signed up somewhere.
and then your information has been sold to someone else.
When you sign up for most of these platforms, they ask for almost all your information, your address, your email address,
Your
everything.
phone number.
Your phone number. And somebody is calling you, one random person is calling you, and you've already consented that they have the right to give out your phone number.
No. Because this is very upsetting. So let's just leave it alone. Because I'm sure that...
we'll come back to it because people need to know.
We're not coming back to it. You have upset the viewers enough.
People need to know how they can retrace their steps.
You cannot be just punching accept. You have learned that from Sunrise today. You need to read what you are accepting.
Yeah.
Good. Now let's talk about plagiarism.
Yes.
That is also an infringement on copyright, am I correct?
Yes, that is.
Good. So how do I go about getting redress if somebody plagiarizes my work?
Right. You can seek redress from the courts if someone plagiarizes your work, and I think what the courts tend to do is look at your work and the person's work in isolation. So work A and work B. So if I look at the copycat work, would I see a lot of similarities in isolation? Would I think of work A when I look at work B? And that's how you can go about seeking redress in the court. That's how the court goes about, determining if there's plagiarism.
Whether it was actually plagiarized or
yes.
not. Okay.
So it's not enough to just, some people copy and paste, but some other people are smarter than that. They twist and turn, change names, but rephrase and everything. So if I'm reading story A, would I think of story B? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it's analyzed basically in the courts.
Okay.
So what kind of amount would one get out of that kind of action?
I'm suspecting something.
You know.
Oh, okay. You're wrong. You're wrong. Yes, that made you laugh.
Actually,
why?
Actually, for that, it depends on the damages you seek. You know, you have to seek damages when you're insisting on action
What
of
I
that
ask
nature.
the court,
Yes.
I have to ask
the court. Is not a Father Christmas. You have to ask the court. Then the court still has to determine based on the evidence before it if you know this work has been generating, this plagiarized work has been generating this level of income. You can show with evidence that these are the facts.
Lost.
Yeah, this is the amount I've lost because this work was plagiarized.
Okay.
Then the court will
Let me quickly follow up on that question. And here is why. I'm aware something happened some 10, 15 years ago or more. The logo of a popular publishing organization was not registered by that publishing organization. So another fellow picked it up and began to use it.
Well,
so I was shocked. I didn't even know that such a popular, big corporate there could be such a lacuna. Yeah, I mean, I was shocked. So, in that regard, who is liable here? The guy just picked it up and decided to use it. And when people were asking him, why? I said, well, they didn't register it.
It wasn't registered mark. Really, people we always advise people to register their mark because of issues like this. Because registration is what helps you prove ownership of a mark. You must have registered it, and not just registering to one stage and saying, oh, you've obtained the acceptance letter. You have to obtain the certificate. That is the proof of ownership of the mark.
Yeah.
So in this case now, that original big company cannot lay claim to it.
There's no substantial claim you can lay to it.
Even though it's been on their publications and products
those
over
are things
the decades.
You have to start proving in court that, but this one has a title, he comes to you and say, oh, apart from using it, I have registered it. If the other
so if party B has gone ahead to register that logo, he's the legal owner.
He's the legal owner.
Yeah, and some people actually register trademarks for that, so that they can have all their trademarks under their belt and maybe sell it off to big brands when the big brands actually realize that they've already been registered by someone else.
Yeah.
But regarding the example you just brought forward, there's a common law claim called passing off, and it's when somebody or like a brand tries to use the goodwill that a bigger brand has received and just tries to pass off as the bigger brand. It's like passing off. So you said that the brand is already a big brand and everything, so brand can seek redress from the courts and show that, oh, we've been this big brand for like how many years, and we've used it, we've gotten goodwill, and this new brand is passing off as us. And yeah, but I would advise all brands, everybody trying to start up a business in Nigeria, to register their trademarks. And trademarks range from like the actual mark, so like sunrise behind you, and you can also register the word sunrise, but I'm sure it's already been registered.
Actually, it's a word in the dictionary as well.
The beauty is you can actually register your mark and your logo together.
Yes.
So you don't have to start.
What is your mark and what is your logo?
Okay, your mark, your mark and the wordings itself. You can register both. Just
so what's for instance?
So this is the logo or the mark.
So you register the
and then
sun as well.
sunrise also.
In a particular lettering,
yes,
or
the particular lettering. Okay. Sunrise. So you can have this and then have sunrise and register it that way. Okay. So this is my logo or my mark, and this is the trade name.
I will now put arrow.
Registered.
Registered.
Arrow in a circle.
Yes. Okay.
One no circle.
Or C. Which one?
And
C is copyright.
See, one thing we have to explain is this registration process. But I realize that most people tend to, once you just go to the trademark registry, you've obtained an acceptance letter from them, you just sit back and relax and feel a mark is registered. But there's a certificate process. When you obtain the acceptance letter, you must obtain the certificate.
So that you have it to show lawyer.
Yes, you say this is my certificate. The acceptance letter is not sufficient proof of ownership of the mark.
So it's like you do introduction.
Yeah. Married. So you have to go for that.
Let's do music now. Music is a big one in Nigeria.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Do you mind before we go to music?
Okay.
No vex.
All right.
This still on this logo thing, because music, movies is actually quite big.
That's big.
And I don't know whether or not we can copyright jokes. We'll come to that.
Maybe now you can with professional comedians.
This logo thing that we talked about. Over the years, I don't know, you would remember this. There are some beverage brands that have been compromised, in a manner of speaking. I mean, they are based in one part of the country, but when you go to some other part of the country, you see them adjusted in a way that you pass off.
Yeah.
As okay, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So
and you use passing off, right? So I'm happy.
Thank you. So in that regard, what can the big brand do? Because clearly this small brand is just trying to pass off to make a buck a day or two, and then move on, compromise the market of the big brand. Exactly.
Where you go to court, you can seek an injunction. The court can restrain them from further passing off. You can get damages also for it. You can prove that they've made income from that passing off.
Yeah.
Why pretending to be you? They've generated so amount of money. You can even ask the court to demand that they provide their accounts records to show that they've generated this sufficient amount of money, and you want to lay claim to this because they generated this money based on the fact that they passed.
They pretending to be you.
So, is there a monitoring system for such things? I was at a shop yesterday with a colleague of mine here, and when she saw this particular brand, and she just said, and then saw another brand entirely different, but the coloring, the labeling were similar, about almost 80% similar, such that she said, wait a minute, is this another variant of this particular product? In that regard, is there a monitoring system by maybe the Copyright Commission or someone to say, okay, this thing is happening, or it's the responsibility of the brand owner to monitor?
So it's not the responsibility of the Copyright Commission, because copyright is about literary work, music, as explained. But trademark is about the actual mark. So sometimes that's why it's good to get a lawyer to be able to, ascertain what's happening in the market and see if there are any changes. So there's no particular body for regulating this yet, not that I know of, but it's just good to put your ear out in the markets and see what's happening commercially, and notice different changes to what's happening in your brand. So you might notice that you've earned less this month than you did the month before. Why is that? That's why you have to have people around you and advisors around you that would ascertain what's happening in the market. So it'll be easy for you to pinpoint what's going on if you're well informed about what's going on in the market.
So it's the responsibility of the brand owner?
It's the responsibility of the brand owner for now.
Unfortunately so.
For now.
Unfortunately so. We don't have that level of enforcement mechanisms for you to rely on.
You don't have patent police?
Something like that. So you just have to...
Do they exist anywhere in the world?
Some countries go further, and some countries that have very good database, online database, once you just put your information, everything pops up. Then so you can't say that for Nigeria for now. We are getting there.
Okay, now let's go to the biggie. Music. Once upon a time, when we started broadcasting, musicians would beg us to play their music so that their music would be popular.
They still do.
They do now with the caveat because the Copyrights Organization of Nigeria, they have since been formed, and they are very active. You hear that piece of music, you're supposed to pay something to the artist. So, what should the relationship be between radio and TV stations and the artists who are making all this music?
Right, that's a good question. What I think the relationship should be is, I think it's governed by the NCC, the Copyright Commission, and I'm aware that radio stations and TV stations are usually have license to play a certain catalog of music. That's what I know about that. Right.
But I'm also aware, having been in the practice for a bit, that radio stations actually pay some fractions as well as TV stations to these what they call collecting agencies.
Right.
I think that's what she's talking about. But there was something that she began with the other time, that, are people liable to pay copyright when they play music at parties? I don't know.
No, let's be sincere. If you hear your music at the party, really, you might not want to start demanding this, but then maybe you see one big personality using your song for something, probably a campaign or something, you would want to go and start seeking
for a campaign.
something.
Yes.
So it just depends on the purpose for which your song is being played. Just played at the party, nothing special. You might really not want to seek, because really,
in fact, you should be happy.
But then
where your work is being
exploited in such a way that they're generating income, then you should.
Okay. At what point do people cross the line without knowing it?
Generating income.
It's all about
the money.
The money.
You're generating income from my song. I want that income. Or I want a part of that income.
So if I'm shooting a movie, for instance, and I decide to use Ayo's music,
you're synchronizing my music into your movie.
Oh, you can't.
But I could ask his permission.
Yes.
And use it?
Yes. So
Yes.
you have to be licensed to use it, and I would advise that.
And in that case, I won't have to pay?
Oh, it depends on the agreement you have.
Okay.
So he might decide to collect money from you. I think you should.
I actually enjoy it.
He might decide to.
You see lawyer always causing trouble.
She will collect her fraction now. when she gets
She will
it.
be your lawyer.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
She said yes, just
I would advise you to, because the movie will be played in different areas of the world, and the movie itself is generating income, and you want a part of that income because your music is played in the movie. So that's why it's good to, employ a lawyer to just analyze what you're getting and make sure you're not selling off your rights to.
Another angle to that, and we've talked about where people begin to cross the line, but there are those who cross the lines without even knowing it.
Right.
In what ways do people cross the line without even knowing it?
Yes, so sometimes someone might give you like a script to read. And I've heard stories about that happening in Nollywood, like sharing ideas or like just, having script writers come and show some scripts. And the producer of the movie might decide to readapt the script, change some names. Oh, I got the idea from here, there, everywhere. And some people do it knowingly, some people do it unknowingly. And yeah, that's what happens sometimes.
Okay. So we are gradually crossing into movies as well. The music part, there are many, many popular songs today that are not credited to anyone. They now say that there are songs in public domain.
Somebody sang it first.
I have a musician friend whose friend did a song of his, made it popular. He did the song, I think, in the late 90s or early 2000s. And then this fellow, just about 5 years ago, redid the song, new lead songs, exact same chorus. Now, he didn't take a permission. They're very good friends, but he didn't take permission from the friend. They didn't have any conversation at all. So, what kind of liabilities exist at that point?
At this point, this is copyright infringement. You've infringed on whether he's your friend or not. You've infringed on his copyright. You've taken his song. Let's say you've created an improved version. Let me use that word. You've created an improved version of his song, but it's still his work, which you took and amended to suit your needs. So he's supposed to generate income from it. So this is copyright infringement. He can sue you for copyright infringement.
On that same topic, since you went to music, a song called My Girl was done by Otis Redding, I think, in the 60s.
Yep.
And it's been redone by so many people.
Yes.
George Benson, Temptations, what's the name of this guy? Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, on and on and on like that. You know about the song?
Yes.
Okay. So in terms of covers, where is there a process to that?
Yes, there is a process. So that's sampling. So I'm sampling someone else's song.
That's not sampling. That's taking the whole song.
Oh yes, that's taking the whole song. They've assigned, Stevie Wonder has probably assigned some rights to redo the song. So you have to, approach the person that owns the copyright first before you can redo the song. And I know some people redo and sample some songs on YouTube, but you're not technically meant to without permission from the owner of the copyright. And when you start generating income from it, that's when there's a problem.
Okay, since you have gone to social media, let me go there.
Oh.
You attach you have a video.
Yes.
Or a picture.
Okay.
And you attach a song off of, however, I've never done it. So Inumidu is dancing, and then she just attaches a song from her song file or from somewhere, and puts it on a video or an audio that she did for herself on Instagram.
Right.
Are there laws that people break without knowing it? Or
Yes. And sometimes, in some cases, Instagram might actually pull the video down because the song, you're not authorized to use that song for the video. And I know that Instagram has this option where you can put a song over a video, and that option is there because Instagram has rights to use certain songs. And sometimes I try to put a song on top of a video and I see that this song is not available in your region, and this is why intellectual property rights is it's kind of territorial. So you might have rights to you might have some rights in Nigeria, but you might not be registered in the UK or in America as well. So that's something you should be aware of as well. So if you that's why big brands nowadays decide to register their trademark in almost every country, just so you're protected everywhere.
Interesting. You want to add a word to that?
Wow.
Or has she said everything?
Yeah,
because I have more questions.
Okay.
The same thing happens on other platforms as well. TikTok.
Yes.
Twitter.
Yes.
Facebook and the rest of them. Is there any liability that people have been crossing without knowing it? I'm asking that because I know that generally, and you both have spoken to that, the copyright laws may not be, well, they are there, but the enforcement may not be that strong in this part of the country. Yeah. And people may be roping themselves in, well, without knowing it. How do we begin to help people get protected?
So we have to understand first that technology is evolving, and right now we are at the stage where so many things are happening, and our laws are not catching up to speed with everything that's happening. So our laws are somehow outdated to an extent, and obviously the law, when the Copyright Act was created, did not emphasize the situation where we'd be having this, right? So it needs to be updated to the extent that, okay, we have to consider all these things that are happening right now. If you look at this from a strict perspective, you notice that when you take a video, make a video with someone's song and post it, you're infringing the person's intellectual property. Although then you might not think you're doing so, you might think you're just promoting the person's song, but the person doesn't want you to promote his song. He's making his income already. He feels like you are trying to generate income by posting his song, making a video with his song. So then you're crossing a line. But the question is, should you be held liable for crossing this line if you're not generating income from it? If it's just a harmless post of a video and you're dancing to it and you're not generating income from it and nothing, should you be held? What is the benefit of the artist who decides to go after you?
Yeah.
What income, really? What income do you want to lay claim to?
So if he comes after me for posting that video, what should happen? Or what will
maximum that will happen is maybe a takedown request for the video, because if I haven't generated any
there's
income
no monetary gain in it for me, so I don't have anything to pay him. So all he can ask is for me to put
you can claim.
Put it down.
You can claim, but the practicability of being granted a monetary claim where I have generated nothing from it, it's not practicable. But you can ask for a takedown, or take this down. Really, a takedown suffices at this point.
And there are many people who have commercialized and are commercializing their followership.
Yes.
I have a million followers or likes or whatever.
And based on that, you market yourself as a social media influencer.
Yes.
So and you get paid.
Now, in that regard, Inumidum, what are there risks that those people who have so many followers could be running that they may not be aware of? By that I mean, maybe they used a particular background or with intent, or use a particular music or a product with intent. It can be argued. You understand what I'm talking about? Are there risks for social media influencers that they are running without even knowing it?
Yes. So the major risk is the fact that your image can be reposted by anyone. So sometimes I see in like small salons where like someone's image from somewhere, God knows where, is posted, and I'm like, where did you get this from? So that's the major risk. Anybody can just screen grab and use your image, use what you've said, use your words. And because in Nigeria, intellectual property might be seen as something that isn't so enforceable, you can't chase everyone and try to like, you can't chase everybody. You can't find everybody that is infringing on your intellectual property rights. So you run a risk of exposing yourself, exposing your pictures, exposing your words, exposing maybe something you said, something innovative that you said online. Someone can just...
People are pretty organized now, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
How about comedians? Can we copyright jokes? Is that copyright or patent? I don't know.
Yeah, it's really copyright. But right now, we can't say, can you prove originality? That's the question. If you can prove that this joke is original to you, you might not even call it a joke. You might just call it something else and literary work, and that falls under the category of literary work and possibly copywriting it. But that originality is very difficult. Almost all jokes are out there. Someone must have said it somewhere or said it. Then you're bringing it out. And
I've heard an argument before between two comedians. I mean, I said it, and then he just went and used it. You know, you should have asked my permission and all that. I've heard that argument.
It's really originality. It's originality. It's like literary work you have.
Which is hard to prove.
Which is hard to prove.
Okay. It was World Intellectual Property Day on April 26, 2022.
Yeah, a very great day.
Okay. Great day. Yeah. What made it great? The theme was IP and youth. That's intellectual property and youth, innovating for a better future.
Yes.
Do you see us?
Thing?
Sorry?
The perfect thing.
Okay. Why so?
Really, if you look at the world today, it just reflects the world we are today. Things have moved. We've seen this transition from just the general business in the market to e-commerce. We've seen transition from just acting movies and just for identification of our culture to making income from this. And the youths are taking a large part of this, and so it's really a reflection of the world we are today.
The young people are very artistic.
Yes.
I've heard and seen some people who just paint the pictures of certain famous or prominent people and maybe give it to them or just put it out there. I can do this for you. Okay, paint a picture of world famous Inumidu and put the picture on the street somewhere in order to attract other people and say, I can do this because I did this world famous Inumidu's picture. Is there a liability there?
A liability for?
For the person who is using Inumidu's picture to market his capacity.
Yes, there is a liability. Inumidu's picture. So the person painted Inumidu's picture.
Whether Inumidu knows it or not.
Yes, so the copyright owner is the person who painted the picture because Inumidu posed for the picture.
Maybe she just picked a picture of Inumidu online.
Okay, so that's like kind of interconnected because the original copyright owner is the person who actually took the photograph. So the person that took the picture of Inumidu. So the person who took that picture has to authorize the person that is going to paint the picture that I'm giving you.
Let me make it worse. Inumidu is president of Finland.
Okay.
And she's world famous. Okay. Oh. And for whatever reason, her pictures are online. But there is a particular image of her, like a Mona Lisa kind of picture of Inumidu, that everybody in the universe knows. Right? So now this Gotsin artists in Ajebule or Sabongeri or Ihiala in somewhere in the remote part of the southeast just picks Inumidu's world famous picture, paints it, puts it out somewhere and says, I can do this.
Right. So
we don't know who took Inumido's picture.
Okay. So it's the painter's adaptation of Inumido's picture. So there are like little details that will be different. So not every painting can be the same or will be the same, because people use different brush strokes and people, have different details, different quirks to their paintings. So if I decide to paint, it might be different from how you decide to paint. So the painter
can distinguish your work.
Yes.
What you can distinguish your work, that's it. That's what you can distinguish your work. If you can do that, then really you might not have a problem. But where you can't distinguish your work from the original work, then really
that's the problem.
Now, for the youth part, that the youth question that I asked the other time, we know that young people are stepping up to innovation challenges, using their energy to create things all over the place, short videos on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, Snapchat and all. What are the opportunities, especially coming from the IP perspective, that young people who create this content all over the place are not even aware of? They're just putting the content out there.
Right. So you can get approached by big brands once they see your following to market their products. And I know nowadays young people are going into NFTs. We don't
Going into what?
NFTs, so non-fungible tokens. So there's a picture of an old baba, an old guy with a talking drum that some youth coppers took, and they sold the NFT to the picture, and they earned a lot of money from that. So young people are not aware of how their creativity can cross borders and how they can, expand and generate income from just, taking a picture or drawing something or just being creative.
That Baba is not ever likely to see that photograph.
Incidentally, what happened was that they actually made a lot of money, and I think they gave him 50% of the money.
Oh.
They took 50% of that money to the man. The man who had never seen that kind of money.
Oh, how sweet.
He was overgasted and flabberwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
Okay, yeah.
Overwhelmed.
You over and flabber.
That is so sweet.
So those opportunities are there, irrespective of gender, irrespective of any other sentiments, right?
Yes.
But then, is there a way to begin to protect themselves now? Okay, let me ask the question that I wanted to ask.
And that is the last question.
The one I wanted to ask the other time. Those people who have put themselves out right there said yes. I agree.
I accept.
I accept. And all those things. And all those things have been put out. Is there a way to retrace our steps?
Really, for normal platforms where you can just log out, then log in, sign up again on fresh terms, video terms, and that's a whole different process. But then for those you're the platform already, you want to make it, like for example the followership issue, you have a lot of followers and you are marketing for big brands and everything. How do you protect yourself also, and how do you ensure that your content for the big brands are well protected? One, if you are protecting your advertising for a big brand, and the big brand probably tells you, oh, you have to check your contract between you and that big brand. The big brand is saying all the content you're posting for us is mine. Big brand has offered you 10 million naira, and told you to sign the contract 2 weeks later, and this is 10 million naira. You don't care about what you're signing. Tomorrow, the big brand is using that work for different other things, several other things, and generating massive income. And you come back and you no, you didn't give me money for this other work. Or you didn't give me money for this other work.
You've signed.
You've signed that. You've transferred all your interests and rights
to them. Oh dear.
So you have to go back and look at this contract between what are they saying here? Do they want me to license, or do they want me to assign all my rights?
But at a time, Alera, I'm sorry, at a time when people are chasing clout, you just want to be famous, you just want to be out there.
Yeah.
For God's sake, who has time to be reading those details? The people are poor and hungry, and they just want to, what's the word
Make
now?
a quick buck.
Blow. Not make a blow. And I'm sure that our next guest is going to speak to that. Blow. How do you protect yourselves in the blowing process?
It's just education, just knowing about the rights you might be entitled to. So if I don't know something, I won't know that, oh, I'm entitled to potentially millions.
So when they're going to sign all these kinds of contracts with this big brand, they should take a lawyer with them.
They should take a lawyer, but most people are like, lawyers are expensive, but lawyers save you money in the long run. And it's best to get a lawyer.
Okay, you go there and negotiate 2 million for yourself, whereas a lawyer will go there and negotiate 10
or 20.
And if you give him a percentage, you'll still get more than 2.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right then. Inu Midu Bayiruju, corporate lawyer, and we also had Godsim Iwozo, also a corporate lawyer. Well, we can't say we didn't learn a lot from this segment of today's program, my partner.
Especially now that I know I can sue you for using my music.
Benny. And I have learned the same thing. So
she's my lawyer, don't forget.
Watch out. Well, I've got him on my side.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very much. Sunrise will return with a home stretch in just a moment.
Thank you.